What is Hatch and Tug peeps? OldManTup coming at you today with our Week 5 Team Builder versus Lars, El Scissor, and the Borussia Donphan. Now, the Borussia Donphan, in my opinion, have the most broken Pokemon in this season's draft, being Magearna, which was Lars' first pick. So we really have to play around that. Now, you're going to see this team where you're going to say, Tup, you didn't bring your best check to standard Magearna. Hey, guess what? I'm going to tell you why when we get to that point. But as of right now, Lars' team is Magearna, Latias, Nihilego, Decidueye, Donphan, Lucario, Primarina, Rotom Heat, Mesprit, Tornadus Eye, and Crawdaunt. Things we expect him to bring. Definitely Magearna because it wrecks teams, and it should probably be the offensive MVP of the season because of how good it should be. I expect him to bring Latias, possibly Decidueye because of the work it puts in against our regen core. Maybe Lucario for late game physical sweepage, but we do have good answers to Lucario. I do expect him to bring Primarina and Magearna. His dual fairies because it does do a lot against our team. Rotom Heat is almost a must, again because of what it can do to our regen core. I don't see Mesprit coming this week because it gets outclassed by some of the other things on his team. Tornadus I expect him to bring. It's the fastest thing on his team. And yeah, that's why I expect that. Crawdaunt because it wrecks shop once Tangrowth goes down and sets up. So that's no bueno. So we need to watch out for that. So this is the team we brought. Especially defensive Scizor with knockoff full punch, roost, and sword stance. Leftovers, technician, careful nature, decent special defense bulk. This will allow us to come in and take some of the larger hits that we need to be mindful of. We come in, take hits, roost off damage, knock off items, sword stance, bullet punch, sweep late game. He doesn't have a lot that stands up to this. Obviously, we don't want to come in and take fire attacks from things like Rotom Heat. So, Rotom Heat, Crawdaunt, the only two things on his team currently that are going to want to come in and take bullet punches to the face. Everything else takes neutral damage, and after we get a sword stance up, good things. We did have speed on Kevlar to speed creep on some of the things that we'll expect to come in with no speed investment and outspeed us. So, yeah. Next, we're going to bring in Tapu Koko. Our Tapu Koko Life Orb set this week. And the analysts can crucify me if they want to. Life Orb has valid reasons when it makes it so you can two-shot things. Get out my face. I don't care. So, Tapu Koko, Hidden Power Ground. Where's Levo at? U-Turn, Nature's Madness, Thunderbolt. With Electric Surge up, Thunderbolt, Life Orb, two shots. A lot of things on his team, especially what we expect him to bring. So that Life Orb, very valuable. Life Orb U-Turn puts Latias at a very low range unless he's completely physically bulky, even though we are running an attack lowering nature. Nature's Madness because having the HP of anything is fantastic. So that is our Tapu Koko set this week. Now we're bringing Pop-Tart the Slowking. This was one of the more interesting sets that was put forward during my meeting with the front office. Last week, the front office came up with the Slowking set with the Iron Defense, which would have won that game. I don't care what anybody says. This week, I come up with this set. Life Orb offensive set, and this does work against everything that isn't named Primarina. Primarina is the only thing that comes in if it's specially bulky and more or less makes a switch out. Unless I'm toxic, I think I can 1v1 it. So, there's that. So we have Pop-Tart with Scald, Fire Blast, Shadow Ball, Slack Off, and I know what you're thinking, Tup. None of those moves are neutral against his Crawdaunt. Hey, you know what? You're right. But guess what? This thing isn't meant to 1v1 Crawdaunt. I'm not going to leave this in against Crawdaunt, because knockoff kills me every day, all day, with no investment. So we're not playing that game. We're bringing Noodle for that. The aforementioned Pop-Tart, max HP, max special attack, with a special defense boosting nature. Because we want to be taking special hits, not physical hits, from his physical attackers. Namely, Decidueye and Crawdaunt. That's what Noodle is here for. Now, granted, Decidueye gets Brave Bird, but I'm not as worried about that. What are we doing this week? We've got Noodle, Assault Vest, Regenerator, completely physically offensive with the attacks this week, Power Whip, Earthquake, Knockoff, and Rock Slide, because the damage it does with minimal investment is beautiful. Max HP, max physical defense, because we are coming in to take the physical hits. Assault Vest to allow us to sponge a few other things from other Pokemon, but this thing is mainly meant to come in and be an instant answer to things like Crawdaunt and Lucario. Now what you think of top? Lucario gets Ice Punch. Close combat does more damage to us, and we still take those hits, as long as they aren't super boosted, very well, and we revenge it with an Earthquake. Easy peasy. So let's Noodle this week. Now we're going to be going on to HitmonTop. What you thinking, Top? Why do you have Shed Shell on HitmonTop and not Leftovers this week? Well, here's why. Because that special move that Decidueye gets, that Soul Crusher, or whatever the heck move it is that traps you when it attacks, Shed Shell gets you out of. And I have no answers for Decidueye with this aside from that. And I think he's probably going to be expecting that if he brings it. So we have the Shed Shell just to be able to get out on it. Pretty standard set. Mach Punch, Rapid Spin, Close Combat, and Toxic. We can take hits for days. From Crawdaunt, we have just enough speed to outspeed, if I'm not mistaken, max speed Crawdaunt, and out-prioritize it with Mach Punch. Close Combats, if he doesn't have the Aqua Jet, one-shots it all day long. Toxic, just to spread around damage to things on his team, like Primarina, who will probably be switching into it. Now we have the captain of the team, Black Pearl, bringing that Choice Scarf this week. Interesting set, which may get tweaked last minute. I'm not entirely sure yet. We are max speed Choice Scarf, which allows us to outspeed the entirety of his team, hands down, and stops things that are pretty much same speed tier as us from scarfing and outspeeding us. This thing comes in, takes hits from Rotom Heat very well. We obviously don't want to get burnt or toxic or paralyzed. So definitely going to be scouting for the status moves early against this thing. We have Surf, Dragon Pulse, Earthquake, and Draco Meteor. This does a lot of damage to his team. Unfortunately, again, specially defensive Primarina comes in and shuts this down. Hands down, shuts it down completely. So possibly going to be switching in U-turn there if I can figure out a good move to switch out for it. I mean, Draco Meteor does huge damage, but it may not be completely necessary this week. That'll be a game day decision. So, like I said, Timid, max speed, Choice Scarf, max special attack. So that is a team we are bringing against Lars. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.